All right, today we're answering a question that came in from our mailbag. It's a great question, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. Federal employee writes in, I am a current federal employee aged 48 with 18 years of service. I'd like to retire at 57 if at all possible. I know I won't meet the minimum retirement age as I only have 27 years of service at that point. I've taken a few retirement seminars and I think I've picked up that my pension would be reduced by 15%, 5% a year for the 3 years I would give up by not working until I was 60. We're gonna talk about that. Currently a GS-12 and I contribute 16% to my TSP, and I have a TSP balance of around 460,000. I'd tap Social Security at 62. Biggest concern is those years between 57 and 62. Those are trouble years, those gap years. Would I be eligible for that Social Security supplement for all 5 of those years? Let's talk about the special retirement supplement. My home will be paid off this year, and I don't have much other debt. I'm married, and my spouse also has a 401k with about 300,000 currently. I'm just trying to gauge what retirement income will look like if I go at 57. Thanks for any help and insight. This is a great question, and I love that this family is thinking about this with 9-10 years before they're thinking about their planned retirement day, right? So that gives them enough time to really assess the options and make a really good decision. So I love that that's what's happening right here. And there's a lot to plan around. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So first thing is, we know to be eligible for an unreduced FERS basic annuity, you have to meet a couple basic requirements. You have to go out at your minimum retirement age with 30 or more years of service, or go out at age 60 with 20 more years of service, or go out at age 62 with 5 or more years of service. If you're a special category employee, you can go out at any time with 25 years, or you can go out at 50 with 20 years. Okay, so that's kind of the requirements for an unreduced annuity. If you don't fall into one of those categories, your FERS basic annuity is gonna be reduced by 5% a year for every year you're under the age of 62. Okay, so in this case, 5 years from 62 to 57, it's gonna give them a 25% reduction. Another consideration, cost of living adjustments on the FERS basic annuity don't kick in until you're 62 as well. So that's something else we need to look at. Now, the FERS basic annuity reduction is a permanent one. You never get that money back, okay? Let's look at an example. So let's say that he's gonna go out with 27 years of service, 1% multiplier, and he's got $150,000 as his high 3. That would give us an annuity calculation at that point, $40,500 a year. But we're gonna reduce that by 25%. So that number comes down to be $30,375 a year. So pretty big reduction, right? A pretty sizable reduction in value. Now, we also need to consider that inflation impact we just talked about, because there's no cost of living adjustments until 62. So let's say inflation runs at 3% for those 5 years, 57 to 62. Your $30,375 is now worth around $26,000 in purchasing power. You'd still have your $30,000 coming in, but it would buy the equivalent of $26,000 at age 62 after the impact of that 5 years of inflation, okay? So we can see that's a pretty big reduction, right? Now, the second part of this, he asks, what about the special retirement supplement? Would he be eligible here? To be eligible for the special retirement supplement, you have to go out on an immediate annuity at your minimum retirement age with 30 or more years of service, or age 60 with 20 or more years of service. So he's not gonna meet it if he goes at 57. Now he would if he waits until 60, under the 60 and 20 provision, he would be eligible for the special retirement supplement for those 2 years from 60 to 62, okay? But at 57, it would not apply. Important to remember, just for your knowledge here, those who are not eligible for the SRS special retirement supplement include people going out with MRA plus 10, minimum retirement age plus 10 years, going out on a disability, if you're only eligible for a deferred annuity, or if you're 62 or older, because the special retirement supplement lasts from minimum retirement age until age 62 when it ends, when you're actually eligible for Social Security. Okay, so reduced annuity, no special retirement supplement. Let's take a look at those retirement accounts. What happens to those retirement accounts? He's got $460,000 in his TSP. Let's assume he's making $18,000 a year in contributions, okay? And he makes 8% on his investment over the next 9 years, okay? That $460,000 in that case would be worth $1,162,300 at the end of that 9-year period, okay? It's pretty good, right? A nice nest egg. And his spouse also has that $300,000. She's putting $10,000 a year into it. Let's say she makes 8% a year, 9 years. At the end of that period, it would be $734,567 in total assets in that account. So combined, really nice retirement account balances, almost $1.9 million in retirement money, okay? Now, if we're looking at age 57, the TSP that he owns, it would be accessible under the rule of 55. However, the 401k carries different rules. You can't touch it till you're 59 and a half in most cases and under most plans, okay? So a little bit of a challenge there. there, but let's just ballpark it. Let's say you got $1.9 million in assets. You take a safe withdrawal rate of 4%. That gives us $75,874 in annual income based on, our exact numbers here when we add them up, or $6,322 a month. So that's kind of what you could be working with if you decide to start drawing down your retirement accounts going out early. Okay, so let's look at it. At age 57, you would have a reduced FERS annuity, around $30,375 a year, and you'd have access to the retirement accounts, at least the TSP, which could bring in an additional amount of monthly income. So I see some challenges here, and if it's something that we're really set on, I'm sure you can make any circumstance work. That's really the priority. But I see some challenges here. And the big challenges I see are the permanent reduction to the FERS basic annuity, no special retirement supplement, no cost of living increases until 62. And you also have a greater chance of outliving or drawing down those retirement accounts and investment accounts that you're pulling from, because you're accessing them earlier than you might, right? If you wait a few extra years. So longer time horizon, greater risk of spending down those assets. And then let's not forget, if you take Social Security at 62 versus your full retirement age, it's about a 30% reduction that's also permanent there. Okay, so those are the challenges that I see. Can it work? Of course, right? I mean, we can make anything work, and retirement is such a personal decision, but we want to have all this information on hand so we can make that right decision. Some of these challenges could become easier just by getting a little bit of extra time, right? So if we can make it to 60, 62, I think it's going to take a lot of pressure off of the plan. All right, and some ways to maybe make that a little more palatable: consider part-time work, consider finding a telework position. If you have your high 3 locked in, really what we're shooting for is just the years of service, right? So that we can get to the unreduced annuity, get to the cost of living adjustments earlier, maybe even have the 1.1% multiplier at age 62 on the table, right? So that extra time is just going to alleviate some of these challenges, and it's going to allow your retirement accounts time to grow and breathe, not have as much pressure on them as well. So like I said, I think this is a really great question. I'm glad this family is planning ahead. They're going to have some choices to make, but at least they have, an idea of what it may look like down the road, and how they can make decisions now to maybe change that situation. So if you have questions like this, I would love to hear them. Please send them my way. I hope you found this valuable, and until next time,